Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome back to the channel. Um, we covered last night quite a bit as we prepare for our General Assembly coming up on next week, actually, next Friday. I had mentioned on last night a an assessment, um, and that assessment actually, I should have said we're going to cover that tonight. After I looked at what I was going to cover tonight, it only makes sense for us to evaluate where we are so that, again, you can see the importance of taking this information and actually putting it into place when it comes to the actual General Assembly. When we look at the agenda that we had read through on last night, compared to a standard agenda that we normally would be giving, right? We literally would be looking forward to the exact same thing, um, opening, calling the assembly to order by somebody who's not the presiding officer, and then song, scripture, and prayer as if we're about to have an actual service, right? And then they turn it over to the General Assembly secretary, who literally is the individual that would normally be presiding over the General Assembly as the chairman of this assembly. But there's been so many situations and things that we as members can see are problems all over the place. With that said, looking at the agenda that we would normally have given to us, it's easy to see that we would not be getting anything done. There's no work whatsoever that would be getting done. We would be getting called to come in from all over the organization to literally do absolutely nothing. And that's what's been happening every single year, year after year, so that the members get nothing done and allow the individuals that's in various positions around the organization to continue to do what they've been doing behind the backs of the members while protecting and serving the interest of the CEO. And this is the biggest problem when it comes to us as members of a nonprofit. So tonight, rather than go into the statements that need to be made during motions, which is what I was going to do, I'm going to actually postpone that. I can start on that tonight, depending on how quickly we go through this. This is a 5 elements assessment. A 5 elements assessment. And once again, I introduced this last night, and this covers various things that a nonprofit should have. Governance and boards. This is about the 5 elements to determine whether or not we are a healthy nonprofit. And I'm going to read through the 5 elements so that you understand what it is that we should be looking at to determine how we look in the eyes of a regulatory agency whose job is to see where we stand concerning the rules of what they have set forth as a regulating agency set forth by the government of these United States. And to give you an idea of what we're looking at, let me show you. This is the beginning. In fact, I think I'll do what I did last night. I'm gonna just read through it so that you can hear and see exactly what we're working with. But first and foremost, we have, first and foremost, you all let me know if there's a problem that you have seeing this. Governance and boards. Mission vision. What is the vision of our mission? And it says a mission is the problem that the organization is trying to solve. It is a vision, and what does the world look like if the organization succeeded in its mission? That should be wrapped up inside of the mission statement to tell the regulating agencies and the government, as well as the public, what mission are we serving as an organization? What would the world look like if we completed our mission? If we actually carried our mission out, how would it affect and impact the world we live in today? Okay. Here's your first question. And each question, it has a possibility of 5 answers. But we're not going to answer them. I'm just going to read it so that you can see how serious this is. Does your organization have a mission vision statement that is easily understood and recalled, and that includes these 3 components? Does our organization have a mission or vision statement that is easily understood and recalled, and does it include these 3 components? Number 1, does it include the problem our organization exists in order to solve? Our mission, our purpose is to establish, erect, and maintain houses of prayers. It says nothing about a mission that we're serving the public by. So, does our mission or our purpose have a statement that's easily understood? The answer automatically has to be no. We don't have this. There is no mission statement of the organization. Okay. So right there, we immediately fail this question. And you're going to see there's quite a few questions like this for a regulating agency to look at before they do anything, to assess what the overall picture of this organization looks like. There is no mission statement that we have. But again, listen to the question. 3 components. Does the first component, does our mission statement include the problem that our organization exists to solve? It does not include that. Number 2, does our mission statement include what we do and who we serve? It does not include that. Our purpose does not include what we do and who we serve. Does our mission statement include what results we're trying to achieve? It does not include that. Okay. Does the board regularly review the mission or vision statement, and do they use it to guide decision making? We don't do that. So far, we're at a zero. We don't do any of these things. And this is not included. Those three components are not included in our mission statement. We don't have a mission statement. So out of the questions, the answers would be, we have a mission statement, but it does not include all three components. People inside or outside the organization cannot readily understand or recall it. Okay, this is talking about people, how they see us as an organization. But we don't have a mission statement at all. So out of all of these answers, none of them fit us. The board has last reviewed the mission over 5 years ago. Well, our board is the General Assembly. Have we at any time looked at our mission statement? We don't have one. Have we at any time tried to see if the organization is carrying out its mission? We haven't done that because our General Assembly, okay, does not get anything done. Let me just go ahead to the next question, because again, all of these things, we don't do any of this. We have a mission statement that includes all three components, but people inside and outside, they don't understand anything about our mission. So here's the second one: board roles and responsibilities. The board roles, the responsibilities and roles of the board of directors. Here's your question: do board members develop written board processes and policies? Do the board members, the General Assembly, develop written board processes, procedures, and policies, including the bylaws that they review periodically and follow closely? The answer to that question is no. We don't do that at all. And second question, do board members understand their roles and responsibilities? No, we don't understand our roles and responsibilities. As a General Assembly, primarily throughout the entire organization, the members of the General Assembly have not, up until this point, understood their roles and responsibilities. Look, let me show you. Here. Do board members develop written board processes and policies, including the bylaws? Our board, our General Assembly, they don't do this. That they review periodically and follow closely. Do board members understand their roles and responsibilities? This is what we were talking about tonight. The fiduciary duties. We're going to get into this. Has the organization agreed upon a process to resolve impasses? This is when we come to a disagreement in decision making. And the answer to this question is no. Has the organization agreed upon a process to resolve impasses in decision making? The answer is absolutely not. And here, it's whatever the bishop says, and well, his word is final, right? And that's the end of it. Does the process define what events will trigger it, who can invoke it, and what steps to take? And the answer is no. So far, everything that we've talked about, we're just getting started. All of the answers are no. As far as an organization is concerned, right now we're failing miserably. No, 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 no. Okay? So far. Now look. Here's the first answer. The board's processes and policies are not clearly defined. Our board members do not have a clear understanding of their roles and responsibilities. We have not identified formal steps that we can take if we cannot come to a decision on an important issue. We would score a 1 out of 5. The last question, we would score a 1 out of 5. Now, this was 20 questions, and each question was worth 5 points for 100. If all of these questions we score a 1, we're only going to score 20 out of 100. We fail miserably. So far, that is the answer to that question. Number 1, that fits us to a T perfectly. Number 2, I'm going to show you that number 1 is the answer to our organization. Number 2, it says the board's processes and policies are fairly well defined. I'm going to let you read with me. Here. The board's processes and policies are fairly well defined. And we know that's not the case. So we know already that number 2 is not the answer. But they are not all written down. And again, we can't say that. So we know that number 2 is not the answer. Our board members have a general understanding of their roles and responsibilities. That's not the case. We have discussed what to do in cases where we cannot reach a decision, but we have not completely worked out either the events that would constitute an impasse or the steps to take. We know that that's not us. It's not us. So again, on that question, we would schedule a 1, or we would score a 1. Look at the next one, board characteristics. And this is what it looks like, so that you will see. In the first element, we're only at, look at what it says. In the first element, we're only at the third question. In the first element, 1.33 is the third question. And what is the third question? Do board members have the diverse characteristics, community connections, and experience needed by the organization? Okay? This is serious, y'all. Do board members have the diverse characteristics? That's a yes. Do we have the community connections? That's kind of sketchy. And experience needed? That's a definite no. It's a definite no. We don't have the experience needed by the organization because our General Assembly has no clue what to do. They don't know their placement. They don't understand their role. They don't know the authority that they have. They don't get it that you are the boss of the CEO. Our General Assembly does not understand that. So this answer is no. The General Assembly is the boss, the people, every delegate inside the General Assembly. You are the boss. But because we got people who's afraid all around the organization, we got people who's timid all around the organization, we got people who's nervous, they're worried. But now there's a shift taking place. People no longer timid, people no longer worried, people beginning to understand and see, hold on, all this time, and I'm saying yes, all this time, we've been lied to, we've been duped, we've been bamboozled. Now, this is showing you that you don't have to be afraid. This is telling you, this is an assessment of the organization. Now, let's continue. Watch this. Again, here's for a score of a 1 on this question. This has to be true or false or close to the answer, right? Look at number 1. The board members are from very similar backgrounds, have limited relationships with the community that we serve, or with current and potential funders or donors, and lack some of the experience the organization needs. That definitely suits us because we don't know nothing about the community. We're not involved in the community. We don't do anything with the community. So we will score another 1. Let me read number 2 to show you that we're not a 2, a 3, or 4. We're certainly not a 5. Okay. Look at number 2, the second answer. Number 2, while we have some diversity in ethnic and racial makeup, most of the board members are from very similar backgrounds. They do not have all the experience the organization needs. Most have limited relationships with the community that we serve or with current and potential funders or donors. That's definitely not us. Most of the members in the General Assembly don't have relationships with the community or with fundraisers or with donors. So again, we would score a 1. So far, what this is telling me, if I am a regulator, if I'm assessing your organization, so far, I don't have anything to work with. And see, all the members really need to understand what's going on with this, because people, listen, if you all think that these videos are not important, I don't know what to tell you. These are awareness videos. And we have been so far outside of the loop that I really don't know what to tell you if you don't see the importance of these videos. This is to allow you to get a chance to look at the organization from a bird's eye view. People on the outside looking. Now, watch carefully. Here's question number 4. Strategic issues. This is strategic issues and organizational performance. Look at that. Here. Strategic issues and organizational performance. Here's your question. First of all, a note. A consent agenda / calendar consolidates routine matters into one item on the board agenda. The purpose is to allow board meeting time to be spent more efficiently. This is the consent agenda calendar. Remember, we talked about last night the agenda of the meeting. That's what this is all about. For consent, for the agenda to be placed from the members, from the people in the General Assembly, that consolidates routine matters into one item on the board agenda. It allows for time to be saved while we deal with something in a package, so to speak, by adding something here that otherwise we would have to look at from 2 different departments' point of view. So here's your question. Does the board, allow you to read it with me, does the board, now anytime these questions start with does the board, we can almost assume by now that the answer is going to be no, right? Look at what it says. Does the board organize its work so that it can focus on strategic issues and on understanding organizational performance? Do we do that? The answer is overwhelmingly no. We don't do this either. Does the board organize its work so that it can focus on strategic issues and on understanding organizational performance? We do nothing in our General Assembly. We just come, we go to sleep after roll call, and we wake up when they say he's here, he's here, he's here, and people are saying, I'm calling Ad, he's my rock. And then we sit there until they give us a cue Cue applause. Cue arms raised. Vote yes. Cue arms down. Cue applause. This is what it's like in the General Assembly where we're going, and it's almost like being a robot. This is called rubber stamping, right? There's a job where somebody, they have this great big old rubber stamper, they stamp the ink, boom, then they stamp the paper. Stamp the ink, boom, then they stamp the paper. That's what regulating agencies do not want to see. Because when they see that, they know that this organization is just approving whatever people at the top want. You want this? Boom, go ahead. You want this? Boom, go ahead. You want this? Boom, go ahead. And that's exactly what it is that we look like right now. And we need to change it immediately. For the members that don't understand the importance of this coming up General Assembly, we are now in a position where outside, getting ready to come inside, will look at and determine whether or not they need to do something or do the most. Do the most means done. Do something means fix it. If the people are trying to do something, then they have something to work with. If the people are not doing nothing, then they have nothing to work with. I hope you're hearing me. I hope you're hearing me. And if the people have done nothing and they have nothing to work with, then what do we think the possibility is that they might do the most? Doing the most is a bad thing for us. We don't want them to do the most. We want them to do the least. Doing the least means we fix it. Doing the least is fix it. Show us how to fix it. Do what's necessary to fix it. Let us move whoever out the way so we can fix it. Y'all move them out the way if we can't, so we can fix it. But doing the most, outside, come inside. If they do the most, they're going to flex their muscle. And you don't want outside to flex their muscle. You don't want them telling you, oh, wait a minute. So you think that nobody has the authority to judge you except the Most High? Oh, okay. Okay. And all of these members are in agreement with that? Oh, okay. Okay. Since you are so big, we didn't think that everybody was in agreement with what's going on, but let's see the minutes to your meetings and see what the people thought about all of this. And if the minutes show and reflect that the people have never done anything to fix this, to correct this, if the people have never done nothing to stop this, to hold the leaders accountable, if the people have not done anything to block what they're doing, to undo what they're doing, the people have never done anything, what does that show outside? So it looks like maybe all of these people are literally in cahoots with what's going on here. And what's going on here apparently is everybody is behind supporting, upholding, hiding, and protecting the leaders who are breaking this law, 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 breaking this law. What do we have to work with here? If there's nobody in here willing to stand and hold these people accountable for all of these laws they're breaking, well, then The only alternative we have remaining is to flex our muscle. If they flex their muscle, then everybody in here will want to rewind time and then go back and fix it. Because if they flex their muscle, then everybody in here will understand that there's no more here. That's how bad this organization has been acting from our leader's office while the members knew nothing about it. And this assessment is to show us, it is a self-assessment to allow us to see what we look like to others who would review our behavior, our conduct, our compliance to the fullest letter of the law. And the way they do that is by looking at the decisions of the leaders of the organization. And while the leaders of the organization is doing X, Y, Z, if the people doing nothing, then we're not giving them anything to work with. Now, if they flex their muscle, it doesn't mean only they're going to flex and come at the company, the organization, but they're also going to show people just how strong they are. And this is where the General Assembly delegates come in, because they will make an example out of each and every delegate who stood by and did nothing. That's why they asked for the minutes. Because my job, when I walk into that General Assembly, my job is not to go in there and no. My job is to go up in there. We have some questions, and we need to check to make sure that everything is hunky-dory. That's the job of the delegate, which is why this assessment asks if the delegates have experience so that they will know to walk in there and hold people accountable. This is the real deal, Holyfield. This is the one meeting of the year that the leaders are terrified of. Let's get to the next question. Whoo! Here's a biggie. Well, wait a minute. The last one. Does the board review reports before meetings? I'm going to let y'all see it. Let y'all see it. Right here. For example, does the board review reports before meetings? Do they use a consent agenda or calendar and approve a strategic plan? Does the General Assembly do that? The answer is no, we don't. We have a little teeny tiny order of business given to us. We're going to come in, have a roll call, read the minutes. They're going to be waived. We're going to elect the General Assembly secretary. We know who's going to be because council is going to pick them. The assistant, we know who that's going to be because council is going to pick them. And then what's left? Oh, that's all the business we have on the table. Adjourn. You don't want that to happen this year. Business needs to be done. And look at the answers. To get 1 point on that answer, this is what we should be able to agree with. The board meetings, this is what we should be able to agree with. Again, I'm going to let you read it with me. The board meetings focus on hearing reports and making management decisions about programs and finances. We don't even do that. That's the least bit we can do. We don't even do that. The board, the General Assembly meetings focus on hearing reports. What reports do we hear in our General Assembly? I'll wait. Is there any report whatsoever that our General Assembly hears coming from the CEO or anybody else for that matter? No, we don't hear reports. We have, to my knowledge, never heard a report in the General Assembly coming from the CEO or anybody else. We have not had a committee report read to the Assembly. The Assembly? Are you kidding? They ain't none of their business. We ain't reading no report to no General Assembly, please. They do not interfere with my visions. They do not interfere with my decision making. Or better yet, we don't need no 3, 4, 5 people making no decisions, having a communal. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Now that we've covered this information, can one single solitary man get all of this work done? Truthfully speaking, all of the members of our organization who say you care and you love the organization, can you truthfully say that everything is fine? Can you truly say that there's no problems? Can you truly say that we don't need to fix anything? We are okay. Nobody can say that. Nobody can say that. We're only at question number 4. And so far, we have not been able to get past 1 point. The least at each answer, we've not gotten past 1 point. We don't even do that little bit for every single question so far. This is sad. This should tell every single member we have got to fix this. Look at the next question, number 5. Number 5, board development. Okay, number 5, board development. Does the board have a committee that is actively engaged? When I say board, you know we're talking about the General Assembly, that is actively engaged in board development, including ongoing board recruitment, board education, and annual self-evaluation. Are we doing any of these things as an organization to educate ourselves so that we can be doing the professional work, so that we can get the professional work done, so that we can appear at least as if we are professional with our work? We have not done anything. Anything. This is not an insult. These are facts. And we are looking terribly, terribly awful. Watch carefully. When we look at number 1, the board does not have a committee or person dedicated to board development. We think about recruitment only when we need new board members. That would definitely be us. And that's every single year we have another meeting so that we can nominate and elect new delegates, right? Now, look at number 2. The board occasionally spends time on aspects of board development. Already we know that that's not us, so we stop at number 1. So far, 5 questions, we only get 1 point. Not good. Not good at all. Let's go to number 6. Question number 6. Organizational support by board members or General Assembly delegates is this subject. Do General Assembly delegates provide support to the executive and to the organization by making a personally meaningful donation, assisting with fundraising, and promoting and representing the organization in the community? The community. And the answer again is an overwhelming no. We do not go into the community to do anything. I know it's anything, but we don't do nothing. Nothing. Let's look at number 1. Number 1, to look at the answer. Number 1, for 1 point, a few board members donate to the organization. Members are not involved with fundraising, and they are not actively promoting and representing the organization in the community. That sounds exactly like us, so we get 1 point. Look at number 2. Most members make a personally meaningful donation, but few are involved in fundraisings, and few promote and represent the organization in the community. Nope, that's not us. Nope, not us. So we got 1 point. 6 questions later, 1 point. If we had 5 points for all of this top-notch nonprofit, we should be at 30 points. 30 points. 6 questions, 5 points each. We should be at 30. Right now, we have 6 points. 6 points. It's not looking good for an assessment. Not for us. Here, question number 7. Question number 7. Allocation of authority to the executive. Here's a biggie. Allocation of authority to the executive. Watch carefully. Has the board or General Assembly clearly and effectively delegated authority to the executive so that the executive can lead the organization and make needed day-to-day decisions? Has the delegates done that? And the answer is no. Now, I know people are saying, what are you talking about, Lewis? The delegates gave him all authority. He has all authority to do whatever he needs to do. The General Assembly gave him that. No, they did not. No, they did not. The General Assembly has never, ever had a meeting and held a vote so that the people could vote to give whatever authority to the CEO. The people in the General Assembly or the people on the board, they're the ones who decide and determine what authority the executive has, how much authority the executive has, and what he can use that authority to do. The General Assembly or the board, they decide all of that. We've never had a meeting where the people sit down and determine or decide what authority the CEO is going to do or get. You know who gave him that authority? He did. The bishops wrote their own amendments after getting a constitutional revision committee to suggest, to recommend, to write a report and give it to him so he can sign off on it, and then gave the approval to have it added to the Constitution and having a book printed up and then having the books delivered and shipped to 6 and M Street, waiting for the people to come from all over the country because they know that they have conditioned them and they've trained the people to say nothing, to do nothing, but vote when we say vote, and we want a yes. And after you do that, all of a sudden, now here's your new Constitution. Clap your hands, everybody. You did it. You did it. You revised the Constitution. You reset all of these amendments. You did it. Very good. Good job. Good job, boys and girls. It's all been a lie. The bishops did that with the help of a handful of people. The members never gave them authority. So this, we cannot say that we did that. We can't say that we did that. Look at the next statement right here. The answer, for 1 point, the board has not delegated authority to the executive. The executive plays an operational role only, and any decision made by the executive could be reviewed and revised by the board if any board member disagreed with the decision. That's the least we can do to get 1 point. We don't even do that. Why don't we do it? Because the members don't know that every single delegate inside that General Assembly has the authority to question the CEO. I've been saying the entire time, the people are in charge. And this is an assessment test that many companies and corporations around the world use to test themselves to see where they stand in the eyes of a regulating agency who could come in and take everything down. That's why you do a self-assessment, so that you can ask yourself, is there anything I need to improve on? Is there anything that I need to prepare for? Is there anything that I need to clean up? Is there anything I need to get rid of? Is there anything I need to fix? Is there anything I need to start before they come in? And this is telling us so far that we need to do everything because we've been doing nothing. And that's question number 7. The perfect nonprofit would be at 35 points already. We have 7 points. And even then, we're not even worthy of getting to 7 points because we're not even doing what 1 point says that we should be doing. It's looking bad, people. It's looking very bad. Look at number 8. Question number 8. This is about, y'all see it? Executive evaluation. Executive evaluation. Wait a minute. I didn't know. We're supposed to evaluate the CEO? We're supposed to evaluate his performance? Yes. But because we haven't, But because we have said nothing, but because we've done nothing, we have now a CEO who's yelling at the people. We have recordings where he's up in a service. Sit down and shut up. Does that sound like a CEO who understands that the people are his boss? You have a General Assembly secretary telling people, if y'all don't like the bishop and you're not gonna follow him, well, y'all see these doors with the red signs above? Y'all can walk outside those doors. Does the General Assembly secretary know that he too can be fired because he serves the people? The general counsel, who has been bending over backwards to hide things, to lie left and right, to cover up left and right, to do dirt left and right, and to protect every single chance they get the bishop, and keep all these secrets from the members. Does it look like they understand that their job is to serve the people? Our primary mission, our purpose, our responsibility, our obligation, every single one of us, is to the mission of the organization. We do not serve the interest of one single solitary man. This is not a for-profit organization. This is a nonprofit organization given a 501c3 tax exemption because we've been saying we're going to serve some type of need in the public, not whatever a man says. And the people are now beginning to understand that you're the ones in charge, not the CEO. Let's read the question so that you understand. Is the executive evaluated? What does that say? What does that say? Annually. Is the executive evaluated annually using clearly defined performance measures that are agreed upon in advance? Is the executive evaluated once a year using measures that are agreed upon in advance? That we agree, the people agree, okay, we're going to look for this, we're going to look for this, we're going to test this, we're going to test that, we're going to check this out, we're going to check that out, and it's all going to count towards his performance evaluation as the chief executive officer. And the same thing goes for any of the people in charge in any particular office. And see, this is why I've been saying, for all these chairmans and district chairmans, the general councilmen, all these people that's been put strategically into their positions and handed titles like you're handing out Tic Tacs, making this one an apostle, this one is a judge, that one and this one and this one and that one, making it very, 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 very well known that you serve me. And if you don't serve me, I'll get you out just like I get anybody else out. And as for everybody else in here, if you're going to stay in this house of prayer, you're going to follow Addie Cunningham. No, 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 sir. No, no, senor. No, no, no. We don't do this. The people are the boss. No employee is ever in a position to talk to their employer with a bunch of demands and ultimatums and keep their job. People, I said it before. I say again. Lucy, you got some splaining to do. All right, look at number one. Just to get 1 point. Just to get 1 point. Look at what it says. To get 1 point. Number one, the executive does not receive any evaluation. Boom! We nailed it. We get 1 point. 1 point. We at least do that right. Okay, watch this. Number two, to get 2 points. See if we're going to make it. The executive is either evaluated irregularly or the evaluation approach changes each time. Oh, y'all know how they do Price is Right? Oh, doo-doo. We don't get that other point. 8 questions, 1 point each. We don't get that second point. People, we got to do better. We have to do better. The second element. Now we're on the second element. All of that was the first element. Here's the second element. Let's see where we are with the comments. Black Diamonds, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Jamal, good evening. The lives of him and her. Welcome, everyone. Please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button to show your support. Don't forget to set your notifications bell to stay updated. Email address, we stand for right 2024 at gmail.com. Thank you so much. The lives of him and her. We appreciate you as always. Miss Mintz says hello and peace, family. Miss Mintz, nope, can't do it by himself. The question that was asked was, do you all think that one-man leadership, the sole trustee, if he can do all these things that we've been talking about last night and tonight? Of course he can't. This is why nobody in their right mind would ever carry the responsibility of a business once it goes beyond $100,000 profit. Now, you may say that's not a lot of money, but right around that cusp, that's where people begin to call in for help, advice. They don't have to. It's not mandated. The government not going to say anything if you don't. You can keep your sole trustee. No big deal. No problem. But at $250,000, $250,000 profit, that's when you start getting attention. Okay. We see you. Okay, you're doing something over there. You're doing something. You're doing your thing. You're doing your thing. You might want to consider getting rid of that sole trustee, especially if you're a nonprofit. Because at $250,000, things get kind of tempting, and you don't want to draw any attention to yourselves. So I'm telling you all, this is beyond $250,000. This is way beyond $250,000. And he's still fighting to have a sole trustee. Miss Mickey Bailey is still fighting to keep him as a sole trustee. You are a lawyer, ma'am. You should know better. You're supposed to advise to the best of your knowledge for the best interest of the organization and to put the CEO in the best position for a good evaluation. You're supposed to advise to benefit the people and the organization. Let's see what we got. Okay. Number 2, fundraising and financial management. Oh boy, what do we have here? First question. This is number 9 if you're not keeping up. Diverse and stable funding. Note, Diverse funding refers to having several types of funding, e.g., grants, earned income, individual donations, and events. Stable funding means the overall budget is about the same from year to year or grows. First question: does your organization have a fundraising plan that has demonstrated the ability to reliably produce the levels of funding required? Does your organization have a fundraising plan that has demonstrated that has demonstrated the ability to reliably produce the levels of funding required? Our answer: we don't know. Do we have a fundraising plan that has demonstrated? We don't know because we're not getting any answers. We're not getting any answers. Nobody's answering our questions. Nobody. So we don't know. I'm going to come back to the comments in 1 second. And look at the second half of this. Our revenues in the budget based on a written plan and a grant and fundraising calendar with projections for each type of fundraising. We can honestly and confidently answer that with a great big old fat no. We don't do that at all. So since we don't do that, we don't get the pass to see if we're getting 2 points. We don't even deserve the 1 point, but all we can collect is 1. That's all we get. So out of 9 questions, we have 9 points. 9 times 5 is 45. Healthy, very good. A+ nonprofits are doing well so far. We, on the other hand, Ms. Mint says, wonder if he paid the taxes in DC yet. Not sure. And why are we not sure? Because the members are getting no information. We're getting nothing. We're getting nada. Nobody's answering anything about any money. Nobody's telling us anything about no books. Why? Because that's the way we've always done it. I'm the bishop. I do what I want. I say what I want. I go where I want and do whatever feel like. Nobody going to question anything. Nobody can judge me. Nobody can condemn me. Nobody can stop me. I am who I am, and I'm the general head on earth, only to be judged by the Almighty. Not so. And members, if we don't clean this up, then many of you all, again, are going to be looking back, talking about what you wish you would have done. Last we checked, they still owed. Our bills should never be paid late. The house of prayer, with all that we have, and we owe taxes. First of all, my question is, why do we owe taxes? Why is it that why does a nonprofit owe taxes? Why do we owe taxes? What are the taxes for? If we're a nonprofit, if we have a tax exemption, what are the taxes that we owe? Why do we owe them? Why this is our first time hearing about it? Why haven't the leaders brought this to our knowledge? Why haven't we talked about this in a meeting? Maybe the people could come up with a program or something to get this fixed. Maybe the audit needs to be done. We know that all these things are definitely needed and necessary because we're doing nothing. There's no oversight. There's no checks and balances. Nothing. The bishop got the chance and the opportunity and the freedom and the liberties to run around all day long and play on the swing set, jump over to the merry-go-round, and then get off and go to the sliding board and then the seesaw and do everything he wants, even in the sandbox, with zero accountability, and just play all day. And the only thing that we get to see from every single one is traveling around the organization, buying the cars that presidents of countries drive, or individuals that are the biggest names in organized crime. These are cars they drive. Maybe every once in a while you might see a rapper in a rap video with one. But our bishops got them. The same car that maybe 30 other people have in the entire country, our bishop has them. Are you treating the nonprofit as a nonprofit to help serve a mission? Or are you treating the nonprofit as if it's your own golden cow? People, let's continue. Let's look at the first question. The first question. The organization does not have a fundraising plan. We are always scrambling for funds. Budget revenues are not based on written plans for specific types of fundraising or a grant and fundraising calendar. We don't have either of those. We don't deserve that 1 point, but that's all we get. 1 point. 10 questions later, 1 point. Ms. Mint says, and I've gotten rather tired of seeing case after case involving contractors taking the United House of Prayer to court for services rendered but not paid. That's another excellent point. We should not have, our organization should not have bills where we owe taxes. We simply should not be owing taxes. And we need to get to the bottom of why we owe taxes in the first place. Why are we even being charged taxes if we're under a tax exemption? But since we have been charged taxes, somebody needs to be asking the question, where did the tax come from? And why are they not being paid if we owe it? We don't have the money? All the stuff we have in here, we don't have the money. The fundraising is tight, but they keep on pushing everybody for more and more and more and more and more every single week, month, year. Soon as we finish, announcements. And we're going to go back and do the same thing next year. Yay! No. Let's move on. Listen, Dwayne says, hello, everyone. Ms. Mintz. To your point, Brother Lewis, no, everything is certainly not fine. I asked the question earlier, is everything fine in here to y'all? Can you truly, honestly say that everything is fine? None of us can say that. None of us. And the one time per year that we get to fix it is coming up next week. And if it's not fixed next week, then you have to wait for another opportunity a whole year later. We got to wait another 364 days for that day to roll around again. And that's why they try to get you in there and get you out. They don't want nothing done. Oh, but we're going to change that this year. Thank you, Ms. Mintz. Dwayne says, this is so true. B. Mevderman, peace, everybody. Peace. Ms. Mintz, the bishop is so full of self-appointment. I wish he'd appoint himself to do right by the members, right? Self-appointment. I get to do this. I get to do that. The bishop gets to do this. The bishop gets to do that. The bishop names the people this. The bishop names the pastors. The bishop names apostles. The bishop appoints people to the general council. The bishop has the power to suspend people from the general council. The bishop has the power to remove people from the general council. The bishop has the power to make a minister. The bishop has the power to take down a minister. The bishop has the power to anoint a minister. The bishop has the power to decide we're going to build a house of prayer. The bishop has the power to decide, no, we're changing my mind, we're not going to build it. The bishop has the power to decide to sell it. The bishop has the power to take money out and spend it however he sees fit and do. The bishop, the bishop, the bishop, the bishop, the bishop, the bishop, the bishop. Self-appointment. He gave all this stuff to himself by writing over and over and over and over and over amendments, putting them in the Constitution, stamping the back with his seal of approval by putting a signature there. I have checked, verified, and confirmed that everything that the General Assembly did is 100% legit, spot on accurate, is legal, we're good. General Assembly Secretary stamped his sign of approval with his signature. I too have confirmed it's all good. These are all lies because the people had nothing to do with these amendments. And now we move to the next comment. Ms. Mintz, Addie speaking to us like little kids. I'd like to know, who are you talking to, sir? You are not the father. That part. Matter of fact, excuse me, I was told last night in Newcastle, Delaware, that he is now back to telling the people that he's not the Most High. He's not our Heavenly Father. He's not a God. He's not the Son. He's not the Savior. I haven't listened to it yet, but I did get it. My point in bringing that up is because he constantly says that he is something, and then he says that he's not something. And again, it just seems to me that there's all kinds of confusion with every single thing with this man traveling around saying all the stuff that he's saying. And to be quite frank, not trying to be sarcastic, not trying to be funny, it definitely sounds like we have a real issue, and there needs to be an evaluation here. To be saying the things about being separated from Mary's womb, and I'm the late model version of the Christ, and that you're the reincarnation. Again, let's continue. Let me get back to the questions. And then we'll get back to the comments. We're leaving off with the question coming from Black Diamonds. I'll get back to you next. Okay. Next question. Donor stewardship. This is another big one. Donor stewardship. Here. Donor stewardship. Donor preferences include such information as type and frequency of contact, specific interests, desire for anonymity, etc. These are people who are donors to the organization as to whether or not they want to be known who they are. Most of the time, philanthropists, they don't want nobody to know who they are and what they're doing. It's simply a charitable cause for them to donate right off the money, and something that they're doing out of the kindness of their heart. So let's see what this is talking about. Note the question: does your organization honor its relationships with donors by regularly demonstrating gratitude, for their generosity, and informing them about the impact of their philanthropic investment? Their philanthropic investment. We don't do that. Not that I'm aware of. We don't do it on a large scale, at least. I'm not aware of anything that we've done to make people aware of the fact that we are gracious and that we show gratitude for their donations. The only time I've seen gratitude being shown towards individuals giving money is whenever the bishop gets up to tell people, I thank you for your love, for giving me. But I've not seen, now I could be wrong, but I haven't seen it. Here, let's continue. And let's go down. Here. Now, tomorrow, I'm putting together, we have a program that I will be using starting tomorrow, I think, starting tomorrow, where I won't have to be doing this, holding up all these pieces of paper, and so y'all can read along with me. I'm just trying to allow you all to see that I'm not making any of this stuff up on the spot. Look at this next question. Do you have a system to record biographical information and donor preferences? Do you provide public recognition to donors? Well, to get 1 point, we do not have many donors and therefore do not engage with them beyond sending them a thank you letter. We do not have a system for recording donor preferences. We don't even know whether or not we do any of this stuff. We don't know whether we do any of this stuff. 1 point. That's all we get. Now, the point here is I'm allowing you all to see that with all of these things, we're not getting beyond 1 point. Just 1 point. And we're not making it. This is not looking pretty for somebody coming into the organization just to check us out and see what it is that we're doing. Let's move on. Look at number 3. Number 3. Now I'm going to speed up a little. And look at this. Cultivating potential donors. A donor database includes information about past, lapsed, and current donors. Anyone who has made a financial or other donation to your organization. It is often extended to include information about potential donors, people whom you can expect to be receptive to your mission. The purpose is to increase the affinity between your organization and your donors and prospects, and to increase their level of giving and the frequency of giving. Now, again, we all know a nonprofit, they're going to solicit funds, right? They solicit funds from the public to allow them to do what it is that they're trying to do to help society, okay? But believe it or not, the House of Prayer does it too. There's people out there that do these things, but the members just have not known anything about it, right? Now, look at the question. Let's look at the question. Does your organization have a donor database that includes detailed information about potential donors? Not that we are aware of. Does the organization regularly establish targets for the number of fundraising contacts? Not that we're aware of. Do you regularly share information about the organization and make a proposal or ask based on the information in the database? Not that we're aware of. Does your fundraising plan include activities to increase the level and frequency of giving? This is all 1 point. We don't know because we're not being given any information. Okay. By now, our delegates should be furious because you've been put in a unique situation. And the question is, do you need to do something at the General Assembly? To get 1 point, we have to agree to this. We do not have a database of potential donors. That would probably be true. We do not establish targets for contacts made with potential donors. That would probably be true. If we contact donors, it is at most once or twice a year. Maybe. And because we don't know, 1 point. 1 point. To get 2 points, look at what it says. 2 points. We have a database of potential donors that has contact information, but it's not regularly updated. Well, we can stop there. We don't know. So we will move on to the next question. The next question is about charitable donations and gift acceptance policies. Policies. A gift acceptance policy clarifies what types of gifts may be accepted and how the organization avoids conflicts of interest or potential damage to donors in the acceptance of gifts. This is like an individual soliciting funds and then the money does not go where it's supposed to go, right? That can become a potential problem for the donor. Why? Because when a donor donates funds to a nonprofit, they're going to write down that check number. They're going to write down the nonprofit's name. They're going to write down the date. They're going to write down the amount, and they're going to write down the address of that nonprofit on their own records, or it's some type of contact information, right? They're just not going to leave it at a name and an amount. And the reason why they're going to do that is so that they can establish the fact that they've contributed money to another entity that is a nonprofit so that they can lower their taxes. That's why they do that. Now, whenever money is distributed and goes in the form of a check to a nonprofit, they're going to report to the IRS that they wrote this off. Whenever they do their taxes, it's called itemizing. They're going to itemize everything they put on their taxes. And they're going to reflect the fact that I gave $20,000 to this organization, which is a nonprofit, and I'm reflecting that my taxes need to be reduced by whatever amount you're going to award me with. If the House of Prayer does not submit that on their report that we received $20,000 as a charitable contribution from XYZ company, then the IRS is going to red flag that company because the data does not match. You're saying that you gave, we don't have a report from them saying that they received anything. So now they're going to open up an investigation or an audit. They're going to start by first asking the question. And if the individual shows that, here's my proof, well, now they're going to check with the House of Prayer. Now, the problem is this is already an issue because they just got the attention of the IRS and they're not easy to shake off. Okay, so it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. Charitable donations. So here's your question. Here's your question. If your organization solicits charitable donations from the public, does it comply with the applicable Charitable Solicitations Acts, including annual registration and reporting? We can absolutely say we don't know. I don't think they do at all, but we can say we don't know. So right there is a problem. Does the organization promptly acknowledge in writing gifts of $250 or more? The answer is no. We know that for a fact. We know that for a fact. Does the organization comply with IRS regulations regarding receipts to indicate both whether or not goods and services were received in exchange for financial donations and the value of those goods and services? We have no idea. Does the organization have gift acceptance policies? None that I'm aware of. We've had individuals that gave gifts, donated monies to the organization that y'all don't know about. How do I know that? Because I solicited money from Walmart for the House of Prayer. I'm telling you, there's so many things that we've done and people have no idea. I solicited money from Walmart for the House of Prayer while I was here in North Carolina. And they gladly gave me a check. Gladly. What I'm telling you is this stuff happens all day long. And there's people who understand that there's laws around this type of thing. But the problem is whether or not our organization is in compliance with the laws of the land. And for us to be able to say, we don't know, that's a problem for the regulating agencies. For us to be answering every single question on a self-assessment test with 1 point, that is a problem. People, let's see what we need to do in order to get 1 point for this portion of the assessment test. For 1 point, we are not sure whether we comply with the Charitable Solicitations Act. That's true. We do not always promptly acknowledge gifts of $250 or more. That's true. We're not sure we're providing the correct receipts under IRS regulations. That's true. We do not have a gift acceptance policy. That's probably true. So since we don't know, all we can do is get a 1. We're rolling on ones. Let's see if we can score 2. 2. We're aware of, but do not always comply with the Charitable Solicitations Act. Well, no, we got to stop there because we're not even aware of the Charitable Solicitations Act. Do y'all understand that all of these things pertaining to the law is what the General Assembly is supposed to be aware of? This is supposed to be firsthand knowledge. The General Assembly delegates are supposed to be aware of this stuff. The board of directors are supposed to be aware of this stuff. We have people running circles around us and we don't know what's going on at all. We have no clue. No clue whatsoever. Here, the next portion, again, moving a little faster. The next portion is this. Right here. Financial policies and procedures. Now, this is a big one. We already know we fail in this. Financial policies include things like multiple reviewers, which we have none, separation of duties, and handling checks and payments, monitoring credit cards, etc. I don't think we have any of this. This is a problem. And let's see what the question is. Question. Does your organization have written financial policies and procedures that are rigorously followed in order to minimize the risk of fraud and theft, detect errors, and make processes efficient? The answer, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We don't have none of this stuff. There's not even an oversight committee. There is no checks and balances. The members of the organization do not know whether the bishop is stealing money, hiding money, funneling money, embezzling money. They don't know whether there's people around the CEO that's doing all kinds of stuff with the money, misappropriating funds. We just don't know. We have no clue. Why? Because there's no accountability. And if outside come inside and they see that, we are in such a problem. Delegates, you have the power. You have the power. I just thought about TV shows again. I tell you all the time, I watch for the lessons in them. Lessons. Thundar the Barbarian. I have the power. You have the power. Delegates, you have the power to fix this. Let's see if we get 1 point. Let's see if we get 1 point. For 1 point, there are no established financial policies or procedures. Right there, boom. So far, we're looking good. We do not have systems in place to assure that we do not have fraud, theft, or accounting errors. Or if we do, they're inefficient. That's us. We claim 1 point. So far, we get 1 point for that question. So far. Let's see if we get 2 points. Some financial policies and procedures are written down. Nope. We can cut off right there. We don't have any policies or procedures. And we have a bigger problem because we have a lot of money in our organization that walks out the door unaccounted for. It's not even documented at all. And people, that's another big problem. When all this stuff gets found out and discovered, I'm telling you, delegates, y'all better hope that you have done your job. I'm just saying. Now, this is for all those delegates who want to support Mr. Cunningham. It's for all of them. Y'all better do your job. If you want to support him, I'm telling you, it's going to backfire and it's going to be nasty. For those who want to fix this, you have to, I'm going to show y'all a way to have something done in the General Assembly to at least go on the record saying, I tried. I tried. And that way, when the interrogators come, you now are on record. It is an official record that you tried. So we're going to show you. All right. Let's see. The next question. Financial reporting. I was just talking about this. This has to do with, look, financial reporting capability. Reporting falls into 3 categories: financial reporting, management reporting for internal control purposes, and tax reporting. Okay? Now, what's the question? Question is, does your organization have the capacity to produce financial reports as needed for the overall organization and for each program? And the answer is nope, not at all. We're done. We don't have none of this stuff set up. And again, all these questions later, and we only get 1 point. Let's see if we get this point. Here, For 1 point, for 1 point, we have the minimum amount of reporting for tax purposes and nothing more. I don't, matter of fact, I know for a fact we don't even have that. Come on, Brother Lewis, how do you know that? Believe me, trust me, I'm telling you, we don't have it. I'm telling you, we don't have it. Remember, I said I was trained by the U.S. government as a tax um, rep, preparing taxes for the officers in the military. I became the number one rep in the entire department. Norfolk Naval Base, working for the U.S. government. Now, for my last year, while I had an injury waiting to be separated, they'll put you on something called LLD, light limited duty. So I had a light limited duty job while waiting for paperwork dealing with the injury. Anyway, long story short, I learned about taxes. I can tell you for a fact, we don't have the minimum required set up. And I can tell you a whole lot more. If I do, then people are going to go back and they're going to start trying to get their eggs in a row. But I know that their eggs are not in a row. They don't know where to look. They don't know what to look at. I'm telling you, there's so many things that's coming up. What I'm looking at, I know for a fact they don't know what to look at. They do not want to. And if you go and try to find out right now, it's too late. We're talking about year after year after year after year after year. And every single year, a few of the tax codes are changed every single year. They don't know where to look. And I'm telling you, I can look at a few things. I can tell you where to look, and I can tell you where to find. Bingo, right there. What is it? Tried to tell you. Members, we have to fix this. Let's see. Okay, so we only get 1 point because we don't even have that. We only get 1 point. Let's look at the next question. The next question is management reporting. This includes monthly program reports and customized management reports. Now, why did I sit back? I know y'all don't know. We have a General Assembly meeting 1 time a month. Who's receiving the monthly reports? You mean to tell me a whole year is going by and there's no checks on anything? There's no evaluations on anything? There's no investigations on anything? There's no audits on anything for a whole entire year? Some people might not do it monthly. Some people at least do it quarterly. And if not quarterly, at the very least, twice a year. Let's see if we get 1 point. Let me ask you a question first. I didn't read that yet. Here, do the leaders and General Assembly members have access to internal management reports so they can understand the organization's fiscal health and the performance of programs? You've got to be kidding me. You mean to tell me, Brother Lewis, all this time? Yep. No. You mean all this time? Yep. We're supposed to be checking on, yep. Even down to the management of the organization, yep. Why does that make sense? So that there's no fraud, so that there's no theft, so that there's no misappropriations, so that there's no issues going on with expenditures. or fake expenses, or listen, there's so many things that a person can do in 1 week to hide things, let alone a month, let alone a quarter of a year. You have a whole year. Do y'all know how much we can get done in a year and hide money? People, listen. They've been having a field day with us, and they only hope and pray that the people go back in there and let them. Y'all know that song? Let's do it again. Do it again. Um, they're trying to do it again. To come into that General Assembly and let them do the same old thing. Look at the question. Or the number one, to get 1 point. To get 1 point, look at what it says. We have to agree with this statement. The organization does not have internal management reports and does not look at the financial performance of specific programs. Boom, we get 1 point. 1 point, we got it. 1 point. And that is a problem. Because we should be trying to score a 5 with every one of these questions. Look, see if we get a number 2. See if we get 2 points. See if we get 2 points. Here. Internal management reports are available on a monthly basis. Stop right there. we still get 1. Only 1 more point. That's it. Right? Look, let's go to the next one. Woo! It's looking bad. It's looking bad. Monitoring financial and budget performance. Detailed financial reports refer to both 1, financial reporting, the statement of financial position, and statement of activities, also known as the balance sheet, and P&I, principal and interest, or income statement. And 2, budget reporting, which is budget versus actual. Now look at the question. Does the board use detailed financial reports to monitor financial and budget performance? And the answer is no, we don't. Does the board, the General Assembly, have a good understanding of the organization's financial performance? No, we don't. We don't know nothing about the finance. And if the regulating agency come in and find all this, I'm telling you, they are not going to like it. 100-year-old organization. We've been here 100 years. And if anything was going to happen, it would have happened already. No, you've been getting by. You can't brag about a bunch of lies and deceptions and manipulation for 100 years. And the only time they've been bragging about 100 years is because the members didn't know what was going on. Why do you think right now they're not talking about no 100 years no more? Even this year coming up, convocation, this is a 100-year convocation, supposed to be celebration. They're not talking much about it. They're not blowing it up because they don't want to keep reminding the people that 100 years, we're not celebrating 100 years of victory. We're not celebrating 100 years of success. We're not celebrating 100 years of assistance to the communities. We're not celebrating 100 years of filling up houses with brand new faces, people who are finding and turning their attention to the Most High or His Son. We're celebrating 100 years of getting by, laying low, under the radar, sneaking and tripping and sneaking, deceiving and manipulating, stealing and stealing, wheeling and dealing for over 100 years. And now we know. Let's see what the question says. Here, I might have read this already, but let's see. Okay, no. Look at this. See if we get the first point. The treasurer looks at our financial reports when they are produced, but they are not reviewed, they're not discussed, and they're not well understood by all board members. Y'all understand the General Assembly is supposed to know about the financial records? And if the General Assembly knows nothing about the financial records, why is that? Because the General Assembly being there, I'm calling, he, nope. Put the horn up. Put the cymbals down. Let's get some work done. Let's break out that 3-day agenda so we can do what we traveled all over the organization from different states around this country to do. Look at the next. Financial reserves and cash flow monitoring. Does your organization have reserves appropriate to its needs? We don't know. Do you monitor cash flow and forecast the cash you will have available in the months ahead? We don't. We don't. And the thing is this, when we're looking at the members of our organization who have a problem with what we're saying on this channel, their problem is not with us. The problem needs to be with the leaders. And the problem is that all these people are sitting here looking around knowing that we don't do nothing right. We don't do nothing right. It's not an insult. It's not an attack. It's an awareness that we need to clean and fix. Because almost spoke too soon. When they come, you don't want them to find the organization in disarray. If they do, there's no guarantees what's going to happen. If you fix this, then you put the organization in a position to where they're not going to come flexing their muscle. They're going to say, okay, you know what? All this time, they've been getting away with it, and we don't know what in the world took y'all so long, but at least we're glad that y'all did this. At least. Now, do we have a group of people that we can sit down and work with while we get to the bottom of whatever's been going on in here? That's what they're going to need. But if there's nobody, people, I'm telling you, it's not looking good. Look at number 1 point. For 1 point. Number 1, for 1 point. We have cash on hand for less than 2 months. 2 months worth of expenses at any time during our fiscal year. That may be true. It might not be true. I'm sure we have a whole lot more than that. But we don't know because we can't verify, because the members are not being given any information to verify anything with. So we can't do anything. 1 point for that question. Here. Now, budgeting and financial projections. Budgeting and financial projections. Here. Budgeting and financial projections. Wait a minute. Here we are. Okay. Look at the next part. Does the organization prepare an annual budget based in part on an analysis of trends? No, we do not. Does the organization have a financial projection beyond 1 year? No, we do not, sir. No, ma'am. No, we don't. Do we get the 1 point? Let's see. 1 point. We have no formal budget or an informal budget that may change during the year. None whatsoever. We do get 1 point. Let's see if we get two. We have an annual budget based. Nope. Stop right there. Nope. We get 1 point. Again, one more point. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Look at the next portion. Clear business model and trend analysis. Business model refers to how an organization gets and uses resources to create value. Okay. Do the staff and board regularly discuss the organization's business model and review fundraising, expense and service level trends to guide budget, development, and management decisions? No, we don't do none of that. We don't do none of that. There is no business model. Okay, let's go back again. Roll call. Read the minutes of the last session. No, they're going to be waived. Vote for General Assembly Secretary. Adjourn. Do y'all understand the slap in your faces every single year by these leaders? The general counsel, all the pastors, the bishops and staff. This is a huge slap in your face. Every single one of us. Look at this. Here's the question. Or the point. To get that 1 point here. Right here. They get 1 point. Do we agree with this statement? The staff and board or General Assembly never discuss the organization's business model. We do not do a regular review of trends when we're planning or making financial decisions. At least we can say that this is true because we don't do none of that. None of that. Hold on 1 second for me. Okay. Again, we don't do any of this. Let's see if we get 2 points. The staff and board discuss how to generate revenue. We don't do that at all. The staff and the General Assembly does not review. We don't discuss anything. The staff never comes to the General Assembly to report to us. The CEO does not come to report to us. Well, shoot, the CEO is not even there. He gets to sit at wherever he's sitting and enjoy himself while the members sitting in cold air conditioning, just waiting on those hard wooden pews, uncomfortable, just waiting. Year after year after year after year after year. Because they know what they're doing. Look at this next question. We're going to go to the next element. This one is another biggie. Element number 3. Communications and relationships. Communication plan. Have you developed compelling key messages and defined the audiences you want to reach? Does your organization have a communication plan and schedule that are aligned with your business and operational goals? Are there regular vehicles for internal communications, internal newsletters, intranet, all staff meetings in place so that the leadership can keep the staff informed about the organization? The answer is no. Now, many people would think, well, yeah, we do, because look at the epistles. They're not epistles, they're just letters written by bishops. But they communicate with us all the time and tell, no, they're filled with lies. There's nothing in those letters telling the members of the organization about the fiscal issue, about the budgeting issue, about the spending issue, about the expenditures issue, about the disbursements issue, about who and the allocations issue, about when, where, how. Nothing. The money is going to be spent. The money is going to be used. The money is going to be gathered. The money is going to be deposited. The money is going to be withdrawn. Nothing whatsoever is told to the members. What's going to be built? When is going to be built? What's going to be purchased? What's going to be sold? What's going to be fixed? What's going to be leased? Nothing. What needs to be inspected? Nothing. Let's see if we get 1 point. 1 point. We do not have very compelling key messages and have not clearly defined the audiences we want to reach or how we are going to reach them. This is true. Internal communications are handled mostly through email and occasional staff meetings. Okay. We don't do that at all. So we know we're going to get a 1 on this. We're not going to score higher than a 1 on this. Look at the next question. This is a big one. Website, social media, and brand. Note, your brand is the visual and stylistic identity of your organization, which includes elements such as your logo, program names, tagline, messaging, colors, etc., that uniquely define your organization. That's your brand. Like example, the buses. That's a brand. When you see the gold, the yellow, gold, burgundy, and white, we know our buses as soon as you look at them, right? So let's see what this says. Or question. Does your website, social media, and organizational materials, collateral, communicate a clear and consistent brand unique to your organization? And the answer is, well, that was kind of sketchy, because people, when you look at a house of prayer, most of the time you're going to see the picture of 6 and M Street, or you're going to see the angels, the statue angels, or you're going to see the 3 crosses. So that was kind of sketchy. But that's marketing. Branding is when you're talking about communicating to outside members. So we don't have anything that we use to communicate to outside members other than the website. So that's kind of sketchy, but we can almost say, yes, we do on the website. We don't use social media to outreach with. There is no organizational materials or collateral to outreach with. We don't do any of that. The only thing we have is the website, and we don't do a good job utilizing the website to reach outside members or people in the community. Do you take full advantage of your social media sites and website for marketing? That's a no. Communications, that's a no. And outreach purposes, that too is a no. Do you have clearly defined goals for your online communications? And are you tracking the results? And that too is a no. No, we're not doing none of that. For 1 point, we do not have a consistent brand used in all of our communications. That would be true. Our website and social media platforms are rarely updated, if at all. Well, we don't use social media platforms. We only have a website. We do not have a clear direction for how we want to approach online communication. And that too is true. So we're definitely getting this 1. But let's see if we're getting a 2. We have some aspects of a brand in place. Our website is generally up to date, but the images and content rarely change. We're using some social media platform. Nope, not true. So all we get is a 1 here too. That's all we get is a 1. Okay, people, again, we're not looking good, and we're making our way through this assessment. We're in the 3rd element. Here's a very good one. Many people do not know about this. Okay? Many people do not know about this. Storytelling and communicating impact. Does your organization have the ability to tell stories about the organization and the impact of its work in a concise and visually compelling way? No. You ask most of the members of the House of Prayer about anything that we're doing when it comes to outside, they're going to tell you, well, we do have mortgage-free houses of prayers. Everything that we build, we don't owe anything for it. Or they will say, well, we have a housing program, right? They may say, well, we have a scholarship fund. They may say that, well, we have a fleet of buses that we own. But those are it, besides cafeterias and the music that we have with the bands, right? Everybody, when it comes to, religion, a lot of people have choirs, but we're known for the bands that we have, shout bands, because nobody has been able to duplicate that from the House of Prayer yet, right? And we're also known for the kitchens. But when it comes down to what this is talking about, do we have the ability to tell stories about the organization and the impact of its work? No. We can tell stories about the House of Prayer, but what are y'all going to say about the impact of the work of what the House of Prayer has done in the communities? What has been the impact of the House of Prayer within the communities? And the communities will tell you the House of Prayer has done nothing for the communities. And we're not talking about the organization, they're talking about the leadership. I say repeatedly over and over and over again, the organization did not do anything to people, right, wrong, or indifferent. The organization is nothing but the name of this organization, the entity on paper. But the people who are above in these positions, they're the ones that did things to people, right? Now, again, let's see if we score a 1, just a 1 out of 5, okay? Here, the organization does not have a clear understanding of how to tell stories about its work or impact to donors, funders, and volunteers. And that's true. So we at least get 1 point. Let's see if we get 2. The organization uses some stories about clients to describe the organization's services. Nope. We don't have any clients in the communities. We don't have any clients that we're serving. We don't have any clients that we can at least tell the communities that we've done things with and how we've impacted or changed their lives. or helped their neighborhood or any type of positive message that we can give to anyone outside. We don't have that. So we only get one point. And let's look at the next phase. Everything we've mentioned, out 1 to 5 points, we keep scoring only 1 point. And many times we didn't deserve that 1 point. This should tell you something as far as an organization when it comes to assessing whether or not we are a healthy nonprofit. We are failing this assessment test miserably. In the eyes of the regulating agencies, if they question, is this nonprofit a benefit to the communities that they're supposed to be serving? The answer is an overwhelming no. So if they come in here and they find that one person has been benefiting from everything going on in here and people just been hiding him and protecting him, they're going to flex their muscles. And they're going to show everybody in here that this man is not in a position where he can only be judged by the Almighty. They're going to judge him, and they're going to judge him harshly. And then they're going to turn around and look to the General Assembly delegates, and they're going to hit them left and right as well if it is discovered that y'all had every opportunity to stop this. Let's continue. Here, another section. And look at what it says. Organizational stature. Decision makers are funders, government officials, elected leaders. Here's your question. Is your organization and its leadership well known in the community and among decision makers so that you can advance your organization's cause or mission? No. The people don't know anything about the bishop other than the fact he's a bishop at the House of Prayer. That's all they know. They're certainly not doing anything to help advance the cause of the organization because we don't have a cause for the organization that does anything to assist or help the outside, the communities, the neighborhoods. We do nothing. I dare anybody to try to challenge me on that. We do nothing. Let's see if we're going to score 1 point. Just 1 point. The organization does not have a clear understanding of how to tell a story. Oh, we've already read that. Let's see if we score 1 point. Here we are. Our organization and its leadership is little known in the community. Our executive, key staff, and board members or General Assembly delegates are not engaged with decision makers, city council members, mayors, governors, state legislators, senators, congressmen. Shoot, you can even go as far as presidents, district court members, appellate courts, assessors' offices, and inspectors' offices, right? All of these different offices we should be familiar with. As many states as we're operating in, the pastors don't even know these people. They don't know the pastors. Do y'all know how many communities have no clue who the pastors of the House of Prayers are? Do y'all have any idea how many communities have no clue who the state chairmen are? Y'all do understand that pastors have a hand in the communities of which they serve, right? Y'all know that there's literally places of worship that have an drug addict ministry. There's some places of worship that have a homeless ministry. Some places have a prison ministry. Some have a battered women ministry, single parent ministry, single men ministry, male mentoring, all these different things. They're serving the community. Some have a married couples counseling ministry. Some have a single and how to be single and walk before him ministry. We don't do nothing. Listen, let's see if we score number 2. Our organization and its leadership is somewhat known within our issue area. It's got to stop right there because they're not known. They're not known at all. Look at the next. Woo! All of these subjects, all of these topics, many of our members have never even thought of. But worse yet, many of the pastors never even knew about. Worse yet, many of the bishops never even knew about it. Look at this. Public policy impact and priorities. Public policies. Does your organization understand the public policy issues related to your mission and how they impact your constituents? Have you identified public policy priorities? We don't even have to continue. We know that we haven't done this. Brother Lewis, why you even read that stuff, man? You know that that stuff doesn't apply to us. That's the point. I know it doesn't apply. Y'all don't know it doesn't apply. The members have no clue that it doesn't apply because the members have never thought about it. You know who else has not thought about it? The pastors have not thought about it. You know who else who have not thought about it? The district chairmen have not thought about it. You know who else have not thought about it? The state chairmen have not thought about it. And you know who else who have not thought about it? The councilman has not thought about it. And I'm sure the bishops have never thought about it because they're too busy pushing these members for a dollar bill so that they can put it in the hands of the bishop. None of this stuff even mattered to them. None of it. Let's see if we score 1 point. 1 point. Here, we are unclear how public policy issues affect our mission and constituents. We feel overwhelmed by information on policy issues and do not analyze how issues impact our constituents or establish policy priorities. This is true about us. We don't know nothing about this. Nothing. Do y'all realize that whenever there's a town hall meeting, that the pastors at least should be there? Y'all realize whenever we have a neighborhood crime watch, the pastors should be there? Whenever we have any type of neighborhood or community gathering, we should have representation there. How are you going to know what's going on in the neighborhood? How are you going to know what's going on in the community? How can you help the needs of the community or the neighborhood if you don't know what's going on in the neighborhood or the community? And the community has nothing whatsoever to do with the house of prayer because the communities have seen that the house of prayers and its leaders wants nothing to do with the communities. And this is one of the reasons why the communities do not cooperate with the house of prayers. People in the community, they don't want nothing to do with the houses of prayers because of our public relationship policies. Anyway, let me continue so that you all understand. See if we get 2 points. We have a general understanding of how public policy affects our mission. Nope, we got to stop. No further. Now, look at this next subject. Next subject is cause building. Note, advocacy is an effort to shape public attitudes or behaviors. Whenever you advocate on behalf of other people, you're helping to shape the attitude or the behaviors of the public and society around them, which may or may not require lobbying for changes in laws or rules. This is public policy. Okay? Does your organization inspire people to join your cause? Does the House of Prayer inspire people to join the cause of our nonprofit? No, it does not, because people in the House of Prayer don't even know the cause of this nonprofit. We don't even have a cause for this nonprofit. It's supposed to be to establish, erect, and maintain houses of prayers, but we're not even doing that. We're doing all kinds of other things, but we're not doing that. So the people are completely confused about our cause. What is our mission, right? Does your organization inspire people to join your cause? Does your organization actively engage the community in organizational planning, advocacy, and public policy work? Are the leaders of the organization more interested in advancing our cause than in benefiting the organization? See, here we go. This is a problem. Because the leaders should be more interested in benefiting the people and the cause. Excuse me. They should be interested in taking care of the mission. But we have been more interested in taking care of the leader. Look at what it says here. See if we score number 1. Our organization is not involved in advocacy or public policy and does not involve the community or the people we serve in organizational planning. This is true. We don't do none of that, which is bad, but at least we get that 1 point, right, on our score. Look at number 2. Our organization occasionally gets involved. We can stop right there. Stop right there. Let's move on. And 3.7, partnerships. Now, what did we think about partnerships? We've never even heard of partnerships. Partnerships. Does the organization share its resources and knowledge and work with partner organizations to achieve more and make better use of resources? Never, never, never. We don't know. There is no, not for us. Do we get a 1? We do not work regularly with any partner organizations. Absolutely not. We get 1 point. We have a few relationships with other organizations, but we do not use these relationships to achieve more or make better use of our resources. No, 1 point. Just 1 point. Let's look further. Here. Volunteer program management and resourcing. Are adequate resources allocated for managing the volunteer program? including program staffing, volunteer supervision, staff training, and volunteer recognition. Are you kidding? What? Let's see. There is no dedicated volunteer program staff. That's accurate. We are not able to provide consistent supervision for volunteers. That's not true. We are able, but we just don't. There are no resources designated for training and designated for training staff or engaging or recognizing volunteer. We do have volunteers. We do have resources. We just don't put them to use that way. Right? So we score 1 and nothing further. We're not getting anywhere looking the way that we're looking. And this is looking rather bad. This is looking very, very bad. Let's see what else we have here. Volunteer program evaluation and planning. Does your organization track and evaluate the success of the volunteer program and utilize the information for further program planning? We don't have that. Again, this is what the General Assembly is supposed to be over. This is what they would create a committee for, right? We don't do nothing, none of this stuff, nothing. They want the General Assembly to travel from all around the country, come in there, sit for a few minutes, go to sleep, clap their hands for the bishop, and then leave and get nothing done. We're showing you all of this, and some of y'all might say that's boring. Okay, it's boring, but it's the work that is at hand. And this is the work that keeps the nonprofit going forward. For those of you claiming to love the organization, to love the house of prayer, it's this boring stuff that keeps the house of prayer going forward. It's this boring stuff that the government says that our members on the General Assembly or the Board of Directors, they need to understand it. They need to understand it so that they can hold accountable those people who are in positions to oversee a nonprofit organization. And if you don't understand this boring information, then you will not have an organization to hold leaders accountable to. It's that simple. The biggest problem with a lot of people in our position is we don't like to read and we don't like to stand up in a confrontation. The job of a board of directors or a general assembly is to confront people who are in positions of power. That is the responsibility. That's the job. To take people in positions of power and do this. Know what you're going to do, what you're going to do, what you're going to do. Now, we don't need to be out of character. But my point is the way that these bishops have treated the members goes to show all the more why we have to fix this. Because if the bishops are talking to the members any type of way, they have completely lost all senses of the fact that they serve the people and the people don't serve them. Let's continue. Look at the question. Does your organization track and evaluate the success of the volunteer program and utilize the information for further program planning? Do we get 1 point? We do not currently solicit feedback from staff or volunteers regarding the success of the volunteer program. We get that point because we don't do that at all. Do we get 2 points? We informally solicit feedback. Nope. stop. The worst part of this assessment is that we don't even get past the answer to number 2. Before we even get to read half a sentence, we have to stop because we don't do none of it. Look at the next section. The next section. Here. Tracking of volunteer data. Volunteer data includes demographics, preferences, hours, contributions, etc. of volunteers. Do we keep volunteer data? Nope. Here's your question. Is there a process and system for tracking and securing volunteer data? Absolutely not. Do we get 1 point? We have no formal process for capturing volunteer data. That's true. Do we get 2 points? We maintain basic contact records for most volunteers. That's not true. We get 1 point. Every single question has been 1 point. Every single question, 1 point. Nothing. Okay? Now we move into element number 4. And let's see what this is all about. Element number 4. Planning. Look at what it says. Planning, technology, and administration. The General Assembly, this is your responsibility. All of this is your responsibility. Okay? Look at what it says. Goals and strategic plan. Does your organization have short-term goals and a recent longer-term business or strategic plan in place? Does your leadership regularly monitor and report to staff and the board on progress towards its goals? The CEO is supposed to be reporting to the General Assembly. He's not supposed to be walking in there no 3-4 hours late. He's not supposed to walk in while the General Counsel sit back. The General Assembly Secretary stands there in adoration. Sir, what we've done, Your Honor Supreme. No, get that crap out of here. Ain't no Honor Supreme. In a General Assembly, you sit here on the side. You are an employee. Not any of those men sitting up in the front need to be sitting up there because you're not a general counsel in the General Assembly. Why are you up front in the first place? It is all for show. It is to intimidate the members of the organization, and it's now high time that the members put a stop to it, and I'm going to show you how. All the things that they've done to literally take this organization and just run it into the ground. We're going to show you how. Oh. Does your leadership, look at what the next question. Does your leadership regularly monitor and report to staff and the board on progress towards its goals? What is our answer? Do we score 1? We have a few short-term goals, but do not have a longer-term plan in place. Results are sporadically discussed. No, we don't even do that. So we don't deserve the 1, but all we can get is a 1. But that shows you that the CEO is supposed to be reporting to the people, supposed to give us a report. Not the other way around. We don't report to him. He reports to the people. And he certainly does not have the authority to tell any of the delegates that you can leave, you can sit down, you can be quiet. This is why, in my case, I've been telling you all, I just sat there and let it happen. But the general counsel does not have the right, nor do they have the authority to take a credential and not stamp it to validate it. When somebody is abiding by the rules of the organization and they're complying with the laws of the land, and they are your example, they are the example of living up to the high standards of walking the tightrope, which is the law. And you take them down while exalting men who's violating laws left and right, who's living any type of way, and you holding them up as a standard. Oh no, people, you got to fix this. Let's continue here. Program effectiveness. Look, program evaluation, supposed to be by the General Assembly, often uses methods such as a logic model, theory of change, or outcome framework. Can your organization evaluate and measure the effectiveness of its programs in solving the problem that it exists to solve? What problems does the House of Prayer exist to solve? Can anybody tell me what problems that our organization exists to solve? No one in here can answer that question because the organization does not exist to solve any problems. All the more reason why we need to yesterday get this fixed. And there's something I've been itching to tell you all that I can't tell you yet. But we have to get this done soon and very soon. Look at the next question. Do you collect and analyze appropriate community input and data? No, we don't do that. And integrate your analysis into organizational decision making and advocacy. We don't do this at all. We're not gathering no information from no communities. We're not getting no data from nobody around the communities. We're not doing anything to help the communities, let alone try to get any data from them so that we can measure anything that we're doing with them. The bishop leaves from one house of prayer and walks out with bags of money, goes to another house of prayer and take, and walk out, go to another house of prayer and take, and walk out, go to another house of prayer and take, and walk out, go to another house of prayer and take, and walk out. This is all he does. That's it. Nothing for the people. Nothing for the communities. Nothing for society. Nothing for the needy. Nothing. 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 House of prayer to house of prayer, all over the place, collecting money. That's all he does. While people, we have been trained and conditioned to stand in the aisles and give it to him. That's all we do. Every once in a while, we're singing songs to perform while we're exalting and lifting and praising. That's all we do. So much so that even if he's not sitting in the seat downstairs, we'll still march around down there. So much so that if he's not sitting in the seat inside of a tent in a parking lot, we'll still march around the parking lot out there. And he's getting more money, more money, more money. And doing what? To help anybody. Nothing whatsoever. And that's why every single one of these questions, we can't score not even higher than a 1. It's terrible, people. Program effectiveness. This is next. General Assembly, you're supposed to be doing this too. Program effectiveness. Program effectiveness. Wait a minute. No, let me turn to the other side. Here we go. Do we have this in place? Do we have this in place? An emergency plan. Does your organization have an up-to-date written emergency plan? Is the staff fully informed about the plan? Is staff given information on emergency preparedness for home and office? No, we don't. We don't have nothing. We don't have none of that. Nobody's ever heard of that in the house of prayer. We've seen it on TV. That's about it. Do we score 1? Do we score at all? We do not have a written emergency plan. Staff has not been given preparedness information. Yeah, boom, we get a 1. But that's not to say anything. Do we score at least 2? 2. There's very little written down, but the staff has talked about what to do in an emergency. Nope, can't go any further because we haven't talked about it. We've done nothing about an emergency plan. Look at this. Here. Emergency information, go kit and provisions. An emergency information go kit. Go kit is a file box or a folder with the organization's most important information in print form. Can multiple people access online storage for emergency contact information, confidential client information, and other documents needed in an emergency? Is there a go kit with critical information and documents, including emergency contact information for staff and regular in-office volunteers? Are there duplicate documents stored off-site? Does the organization have at least 3 days worth of provisions? None of us know anything about this. I'm sure we don't. They're not thinking that far ahead. They're not preparing anything. Look at this. Number 1, do we score a 1? Emergency contact information for staff is not consistently available. There is no emergency contact information for volunteers. No go kit has been created. There are no provisions in the office. We got 1. Emergency contact information is available for staff. Nope. 1 more point. This is not looking good. This is not looking good. Here. Are we at least doing this well? Technology infrastructure. Technology infrastructure refers to computers, servers, mail systems, software, networks, internet, speed, etc. Does your current technology infrastructure support effective day-to-day work? Number 1 point. Many components of our technology infrastructure are missing or outdated. We frequently experience major problems that prevent us from working effectively. Now, we don't know the answer to this question, so I have to say that we get a 1. We don't know the answer to that question at all. So When we're looking at this type of information, again, we have to be able to determine whether or not the answers fit us as an organization. Are we able to say that that information is true or false? Are we able to say that it meets us entirely? Okay, 1 second. And here's another. Members, what you're looking at, people, is information telling you whether or not we're prepared. That's all. Are you prepared for an inspection? If the inspector general, if anybody comes in, again, if an outside regulating agency rep came in, they would find us all over the place. This is absolutely sad. Absolutely sad. Here, look at this. Security and disaster recovery. Some examples of security measures include passwords for computers, Wi-Fi connections, network access, antivirus software, backups of electronic files, paper files kept in locked cabinets, etc. Here's your question. Is your information secure, including your computers, network, and electronic and paper files? We don't know. 1 point, we do not have any security measures in place for paper or electronic files. We do not back up our electronic files. We don't know the answer to this question. So that leaves us with 1 point. Even if we say we have some security measures for electronic data in place, but gaps remain. We back up our electronic files, but the backup is kept on site, right? We don't know any of this. So we have to conclude with just a 1. Here. This is getting serious. This is getting serious. Look here. Data collection and management systems. Does your organization have an effective system for collecting and managing client, volunteer, and donor information? Are the processes well defined and is privacy secure? Are the rules among staff clear? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do we get a 1? We collect and manage as much client, volunteer, and donor information as we can. We don't do that. We don't do that. So we only get a 1 because we're not going to be able to surpass 1 to try to get a 2. Look at this one. This is a biggie. This one is a biggie. Data protection. Does your organization have written policies for complying with regulations governing data retention, deletion, and protection for both electronic and paper files? But look at the words. Do they have written policies for complying with what? Regulations governing data. That means government regulation agencies. They give rules for nonprofits that they must follow. Right? We're not doing it. I keep talking about regulatory agencies are coming in here once they determine that they've reviewed everything and they've made the decision to come in here. And when they do, it's going to be in the best interest of the members of the house of prayer to have this fixed in the General Assembly. I'm trying to get you all to understand that we are very, very much in a position to where it's possible that they can flex their muscles, and everybody in here has ends up being upset. Or they can come in and work with us. I prefer that they come and work with us. And if they come and work with us, then we can save the organization. But in order to save the organization, there's things that we have to do. Here, look at this. Number one, we do not have any written policies or procedures to guarantee compliance. What does it say? With regulations governing data protection. We got 1 point. We have regulating agencies that give these rules. Okay. Number two, we have policies and procedures to comply. Nope, we don't have them. We fail. And right there, we're saying, in other words, the laws of the land must be followed. And that's where we're failing miserably, because we're not following the laws of the land, the organization as a whole, because the leaders have been doing whatever they want. And the General Assembly, when it's time to come, we've been rubber stamping everything that he's been saying. Approved. Boom, boom. Approve. Next, approve. That's not what the job is. Look, what's next? Program data reporting. Does your organization have the technology necessary for managing and reporting key data about programs and clients? Do we get 1 point? We use informal ad hoc methods to manage our program and client data. Wait a minute. I'm just reading. And because it's blurred, I have to try to think, does this word sound correct? And it's not ad hoc, it's ad hoc. Ad hoc is a legal term, ad hoc. Let me go back and read that again. We use informal ad hoc methods to manage our program and client data. We do not have what we need for reporting. This is true. We do not have what we need for reporting, so we get 1 point. Look at number two. Do we get 2 points? We have defined the data we need to collect. Nope. We only get 1 point. Every single question so far, we've only gotten 1 single point. 1 point. Let's go to the next. Here. This is another biggie. Right here. Let me read. Let me go back to make sure. Okay, so we're not that. Okay, not that bad. Not too many comments. And not going to be much longer. This is almost done. Here. Risk assessment. Examples of risks include fraud, legal action against the organization, physical hazards in the workplace, emergencies, and loss of data. Here we go. Has the organization identified risks? No, we have not. You want to know where the risks are identified? The risks are identified in the General Assembly. It is the General Assembly that has reports coming forward whenever you do an evaluation. whenever there's a performance evaluation. This is where you're identifying risks. And what risks are we looking at? Well, it says right here, examples include fraud. That's a big one. Legal action against the organization is another one. People take legal action against the organization whenever the organization's leaders do wrong, which is why all the organization's leaders want to tell the members, people fighting against the house of prayer. No, see, right there, you're lying. You're lying. They're not fighting against the house of prayer. The building is not fighting them. They're fighting against you because there's something that you have done wrong. And now we all see it. All these leaders have been doing wrong to a whole lot of people behind closed doors, behind the members' backs. And they've been doing wrong to each and every single member in here. Let's continue. We have not tried to identify risks. No policies or procedures have been put in place. This is true, but it's bad because we're supposed to try to identify risks. We're supposed to put policies and procedures in place. No actions have been taken to reduce risks. We're supposed to take action to reduce risks. Now I'm going to read through the rest of this to let you know what's supposed to be taking place. To get 2 points, we have identified some types of risk. A few policies and procedures have been put in place, and some actions have been taken to reduce risks. Let me go down to 4. We have undertaken a comprehensive risk assessment. Policies and procedures have been put in place, and actions have been taken to reduce risks. These are regularly tested and reviewed. The General Assembly is supposed to be regularly reviewing, looking into, and how does the General Assembly do it regularly? By establishing a committee of people who's constantly looking into these matters, right? Constantly looking into these matters. But we have not done anything to reduce risks. Look at this. Does the organization, when it comes to ethics, this is another biggie, does the organization have written policies that assure that the executive and the board are behaving ethically and in compliance with the law? No. No. Does the organization have written policies that assure that the executive and the board are behaving ethically and in compliance with the law? This is a biggie, and every single member needs to understand this because this is what outside is going to be looking for. I'm telling this video, as well as yesterday's video, people should be demanding that people watch those videos, this one and last night. If these videos don't wake people up, then the members that, let me wait to say what I'm about to say. Here, let's look at the next question. Important policies include those regarding conflicts of interest, document retention, whistleblowers, and annulment and private benefit. These are the most important policies. And once again, it includes those policies that regard conflicts of interest. A conflict of interest is when you have a General Assembly secretary who's also a senior minister, or a senior minister who's also a judge on the council, or a General Assembly secretary who's also a council member. All of these are conflict of interest. When you have a person who's serving in more than one position, that's a conflict of interest. When you have a senior minister like Mr. Cunningham was, who's making decisions around the organization, not for the best interest of the organization, but he's making decisions in order to put himself in the seat as the bishop, those are all conflicts of interest. And what it also shows is something else I've been talking about. Document retention, holding back documents so the people won't see and understand what's going on. Just like my proposal that was written and it was discarded, it was trashed by the proposal committee after I got a letter back and it didn't go out to the members of the organization. Listen, whistleblowers, when you do whatever you can to retaliate against a person who's reporting things against you, whenever you say things like a person who's whistleblowing, who's reporting your wrongdoing, when you say that person's not allowed on the premises, see, that's retaliation. That's why I tried to get you to say it, but you were smart in that regard. You didn't say that I'm not allowed on the properties of the house of prayer. I don't know if somebody told you not to say that, but I wanted you to say it. If somebody is whistleblowing and reporting you for wrongdoing, for breaking laws and violating the rules and ethics, that's why there's a committee called the Rules and Ethics Committee. It is to make sure that things are being done ethically. And if things are not being done ethically, then the Rules and Ethics Committee can bring you forward with accusations against you. And those accusations will hurt your performance evaluation and possibly and potentially even cost you your job. A CEO and anybody in any position of authority over a nonprofit, you're supposed to be in the most stellar of conduct and behavior because you serve as an example for every single body inside of that organization as well as out. And if you are retaliating against people who's trying to bring you forward for wrongdoing, that's the worst thing you can do because there are protections afforded to whistleblowers, people who are coming forward to report you. It is the same as you committing a crime called obstruction of justice. And all of these general councilmen who's protecting you, they now become an accessory to obstruction of justice. And all of the pastors who's protecting you also become an accessory to obstruction of justice. And when a General Assembly delegate does not do anything to pull you out of that position or to penalize you by investigating you so that they can hold you accountable for your wrongdoing, and they do nothing, then they too now become an accessory to obstruction of justice. This is why we're saying we're not worrying about anything. We have the entire laws of the United States government, federal, state, and local, on our side. And the members of this organization are about to find out just what that means. This is why everybody going inside that General Assembly this year, this is your year of awareness. This is the year to wake you up. This is the year for you to stand up. This is your year to put people in check. That's what the United States government is holding you accountable for. Your job, your role, your responsibilities, your obligation, and expectation from the United States governing bodies that control and regulate and penalize nonprofit 501c3 tax exempt organizations. They expect the board of directors or the General Assembly delegates to police and fix and control and get these people straight as soon as you find out that they're doing wrong. We've had 100 years of wrongdoing. And we think that one more year of giving them a pass is not going to be a problem. This is the time you have no choice but to hold these people accountable, because now there's no more excuse. You can't say that you did not know. This is why the councilmen, they have no excuse. They can't say that they didn't know. The bishops don't have an excuse. They can't say that they did not know. The pastors now no longer have an excuse. All these pastors, and I haven't said anything, I'm going to say something now. All these pastors have been having pastors' meetings with the district chairmen and the state chairman while they're passing on information to them that's coming from headquarters. And the pastors have been told to do certain things in order to block certain things from happening in the houses, in order to make sure that certain people don't get to do certain things in the houses. The pastors have been told to do wrong. The pastors have been told to break laws. And instead of the pastors of this organization standing up against wrongdoing, instead of pastors in this organization saying, no, I will not be a part of that because I know I have a duty and an obligation to protect the members that I serve. I have a duty and an obligation to stand up for what is right because I have to give an account for my own soul one day in the day of judgment. You cannot tell me to stand there and lie, to hide, to protect, or deceive anyone. It's just so that the bishop can get off the hook for all this stuff that he's doing to break these laws. And every time these pastors went into that General Assembly, they sat there and did nothing. Every single time, not one single pastor spoke up. And many of them know exactly the details of this case. And pastors, I'm telling you now, if you don't stand up and speak up this year, this will be held against you, and the crimes that you're found guilty of will be multiplied. I'm telling you, now is the opportunity for you to stand up so that at least you can say, I tried. I know this last year and the year before that, but I didn't know what I know now. I'm telling you, you don't have to believe me. You can find out the hard way. If I were you, y'all seen all this evidence. You've seen all this paperwork. And I'm saying I haven't even showed half. And you should know by now that this is serious. And now we're looking at an assessment just to do a checkup to see if an organization is healthy. And y'all see that we're failing miserably. What's going to happen if outside come in here tomorrow? I'm telling y'all, this right here causes people to go to prison for many, 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 many years. And y'all sitting back here thinking that, like Mr. Commodore, putting all your eggs in one basket, you think Addie gonna save you? You think Mr. Cunningham is gonna get you off the hook when the government finds out all this stuff and they now have you under the microscope to see what was your behavior, what was your conduct, what was your participation, what was your contribution to either covering this up or bringing it forward? And if you have nothing to show that you've attempted at least to bring this forward and hold them accountable, then you're going to be right in there, that basket with them. And you can't get upset with nobody but yourselves. I don't understand how people get mad when someone reports you for doing wrong. It's like a child cheating on a math test in class. How are you going to get mad at somebody sitting behind you who sees you looking over at the person beside you and copying their answers? How are you going to get mad if they report you? How can you get mad at them? They studied. And it would be unfair to everybody in that classroom if you get an A because the person beside you studied and you did not study. See, the problem with us as human beings not understanding the impact and the consequences of right versus wrong. If nobody reports you for cheating on that math test, and then you cheat on another test, and you cheat on another test, and you don't get caught, here's the problem. All you're doing is hurting yourself, because now you got by these grades and you graduate. And now you're out here in the real world and you don't know nothing about math. And now the whole rest of your life is going to be shot because now you don't know nothing about math. There's nobody out there to cheat off of their test anymore because there's no more tests. This is the real life now. And you flunked the game called life because you cheated your way through school thinking that you're getting by, thinking that you're smarter than everybody else. And now everybody is surpassing. Everybody is doing well for themselves, getting ahead in life, climbing the corporate ladder. But you can't do anything because you don't know basic math, because you cheated. Many times it is a blessing in disguise that little Tommy who sat behind you reported you to the teacher so that you can get in trouble on that day for cheating on your math test. That was the help that came from above to get you in line to do what's right so that you can learn math, because it's going to help you for the rest of your life. People, when people do wrong and you do nothing, it does not make you a friend. This is why scripture talks about this. When you see wrongdoing and you don't say anything, as an Israelite, that could have cost you your life. He commanded somebody who sees someone trying to get somebody to go against his rule and his law, and you say nothing about it, and it gets found out later, that's your head. You're gone. You're gone. He has no respect of persons. And all these people thinking that you're doing a favor for the bishop just because of whatever, you're not doing any favors. You're putting yourself at odds, and you're going to have to answer to that above, as well as even down here, potentially, because people. Let me go ahead so we can finish this up. Look at this. Look at this next part. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, here we are. Whistleblowers. Inurement and private benefit, that's when things are being done to benefit yourself. Inurement is when you're spending money to benefit you, where you're using things of the organization for you and your pleasure and your purpose. And we've been seeing that all over the place. But again, I know that they don't know what they're doing because it's right out here in the open. They don't know the laws. There's so much wrongdoing being done. It is a slap in the members' faces. And again, people, we have to clean this up. Look at the question to see if we get, if we score 1, just a 1. Okay. Not the question, but the statement. 1 point. We do not have any of these policies. Boom. We get 1 point. We don't have none of these policies. None of these policies. We have one of these policies. And I don't think any compliance laws, ethical laws, conflict of interest clauses, inurement or private benefit clauses, or policies, note, whistleblower policies, note, Document retention, we don't have none of that either. We don't even have one. Not one do we have. We have this jacked up, fake, bogus constitution that has all these layers of protections to protect the bishop, even if he's wrong and doing everything that the law says not to do. The council's job is to protect him anyway. The General Assembly Secretary's job is to protect him anyway. And if there is a senior minister, their job is to step forward so that they can protect him anyway. What type of example is that over a nonprofit and one who's supposed to be under the scope of religion? What kind of example is that when you're dealing with liars, cheaters, deceivers, and manipulators? And we don't want to go any further. Okay. Let me read through the last few of these. I'm not going to go over all of them. Maintaining and protecting. Okay. Technology, maintenance, support, adoption, collaboration tools. Collaboration tools. Okay. Let's jump ahead. Element 5. Element 5. And here. Management and culture. Resiliency and change management. Are the board, is the General Assembly and the leadership resilient when the organization faces challenges or a change needs to be made? How do we respond when a change needs to be made? Are we eager to fix it and make the change? Or do we back up and say, we're all right? This question on an assessment for a reason. Are you willing to make the changes that are necessary? In this organization, no, they're not. And what I'm getting at is in this General Assembly, that answer had better change. Because now the wait period, we're right at that point. 8 weeks, we're right there. There will not be another year. Y'all see all these other outside organizations, what's happening to them. There won't be another year. I'm telling you all. What I said last year, the hope was that people are going to do whatever. If you don't do what's necessary, and again, I'm not banking what I'm telling you on this assessment. We're going to give you every single tool that you need to walk in there and come out doing what you need to do to fix it. We're going to tell you what to say. This is going to be like taking candy from a baby. You don't need to be scared, nervous, and what am I going to do? No. Just watch the videos, take notes, and prepare. But when it's time, that's the time. And this says, look at the second question. Is the organization able to act swiftly, embrace change, and successfully navigate it? I'm going to tell you how to do all of that. But you have to do it. We're going to set you up. But you have to do it. Now, this is a self-assessment. Right now, are we capable? Nope. We have not shown any interest in fixing anything wrong. People running around doing anything and everything they feel like it. And we just sitting there, not my problem, not my problem. He's going to judge him. He gonna get him. We can't do nothing. It's not our business. It's not our place. I don't know why Lord's doing that. That's not the way to do it. This is the only way to do it, by using the law. Look at the statement. For 1 point, the organization has a history of being unable to get agreement on what action to take when facing serious challenges or the need for change. This is absolutely true. We earned this point, and that's bad. Changes in our environment have had negative impacts on the organization. This is bad. It should not be. To be able to say that that's true for us is bad. It is bad. Let's see if we get 2 points. 2 points. The organization has made decisions when facing a challenge or the need to change, but has not been able to move forward quickly. Nope. The organization did not make decisions. This will be the first time ever in the history of the House of Prayer that the organization has made a decision that had to fix problems within leadership. Here's another biggie. See, I'm telling you all, these are issues that you need to understand. Staff diversity. If no staff, assess the diversity of volunteers. Given its size, is your organization's staff diverse in these characteristics? Age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender, expression, religion, and disability status? And the answer is no, they're not. No, they're not. We are predominantly one ethnicity organization. Predominantly. And what makes it so bad is, believe it or not, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I have to now because it's in the assessment. To make this so bad, we have leadership talking about race issues and giving the impression that when it comes to the gospel, the doctrine, or the gospel, given the impression that when it comes to races, and that's a problem because we're supposed to be, according to the law, doing things that show equality. Now, that's all I'm going to say about that for now. We're going to come back to this later. But for now, that's all I'm going to say about this. Look further. Do you comply with non-discrimination laws? And the answer is no, we don't. Our organization discriminates a lot all the time. This is why we need to fix this, because we need to fix this. Okay. Do you undertake additional efforts to recruit diverse job candidates, including expressing a willingness to make reasonable accommodations? And the answer is no, we don't do that either. No. And you can't do that in this organization because the people who are in these positions, they have to be favored by so-called leaders. Why? Because these are the ones who's predominantly involved in the stuff that they're doing. And if you're not involved in some of this stuff, you cannot be in a position to work and do some of the things that might be required or necessary by headquarters. In other words, it seems that in order to do certain things, you have to turn a blind eye to stuff, turn a deaf ear. This is so bad. See if we get 1 point. We are not a diverse organization. Nope. We're not sure if we comply with non-discrimination laws. Nope. We do not undertake additional efforts to recruit diverse job candidates. No, we don't. We earned at 1 point. All we're going to get is 1, I believe. We have some diversity on staff in 1 to 2 of these 6 characteristics. No, we do not. 1 point. Every single one of these questions, 1 point. Only 1 point. Here we go. And we're going to try to close out after this. Oh, boy. Here. Let me read this and then we'll go ahead and close out. But these cannot be any more clearer. This goes into further issues with the law as well as executive powers to show that the organization's General Assembly has authority over leadership. Let me read 2 of these. I'm going to go over this one and then one more. Now, I just need you all to understand that these are the things that outside would be looking at. Look at this. Organizational culture. Has your organization defined the values and behaviors that shape the organization's culture? Do staff members feel supported? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do leaders demonstrate trust by sharing non-confidential information to help staff members work together effectively? Absolutely not. None whatsoever. When a conflict occurs, are staff able to solve it constructively? Absolutely not. Look at 1 point. We have not defined our values or the behaviors we want to shape our culture. The leadership has difficulty sharing information or demonstrating trust. Staff have varied experiences with the organization. Conflicts often go unresolved. That's us to a T. To a T. People, if you can't see that we are in a strait, we're in an emergency status where you can't get more than 1 point for anything, for a healthy nonprofit assessment test. Let me go to this next question. And this is going to be our last one. We're right now going over the specific questions, and this front and back, it goes over specific questions for the organization to assess the executive officers. Again, it shows that the people are supposed to be on top of every single thing with them. But there's one that I want to read, and here it is. right here. Staff compensation. Does your organization have an overall compensation strategy that includes one, a review of comparative salary and benefit data, at least for the nonprofit sector? Two, a policy or clear statement of where you want your salaries and benefits to be relative to the market, which is nonprofit or for profit. Three, where possible, based on size, laddering of skill and pay levels that allow employees to progress in pay as they progress in skill level. Four, consideration of a minimum pay level that provides a living wage in your community, and have your compensation structure and salary levels been reviewed in the last 2 years? Look at number one. We do not have an overall compensation strategy that includes any of these elements. Why did I want to read that? Two reasons. First reason is because we don't have a compensation schedule or plan for the members who work for, around, or in the house of prayer. There is no compensation plan for them. For the most part, we have a bunch of people all over the organization that works for G-class credit. G-class credit. Another term for G-class credit, according to the law, another term for G-class credit is theft of services rendered. Theft of services rendered. Work that you gave, you're not being compensated for it. The law does not recognize G-class. The law recognizes people who is giving their time in exchange for compensation. The second problem with this is the fact that the General Assembly is supposed to also create compensation for the CEO or the board of directors. But there is no compensation plan for the CEO in the House of Prayer. He wrote his own, and that is illegal. A CEO of a nonprofit cannot write his own compensation plan. And then to find out there really is no compensation plan. There's none. Because every time he goes out to service, there's an order for the general counsel to have the people line up and give him love gift and a love march. What I'm saying as we close out tonight is that this assessment, what it shows us is that we fail miserably. This right here, discover the 5 elements of a healthy nonprofit. It shows us that our nonprofit is beyond sick. We are extremely unhealthy. And the only way that we can become a healthy nonprofit is to fix all of these problems that we have all over the organization. Now that I've shown you two things, what a real assembly agenda meeting looks like, and a self-evaluation or a nonprofit health check assessment, and you see that we failed miserably, and there's a few things that we still haven't talked about. Now we're going to go into the things to say, how to say it, when to say it. And this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of Robert's Rules of Order. So with that in mind, let me go ahead to the comments and see what it is that you all think in conjunction with what we read tonight. We left off with Black Diamonds asking a question right here. Black Diamonds said, if House of Prayer in Hampton, Virginia caught on fire, it's going to be kind of difficult to find a contractor to rebuild it if he decides he wants to be renovated. Yes, probably. But let's correct the record. There was no fire to any of the House of Prayer properties that we're aware of in Hampton. There's no fire that we're aware of pertaining to our apartments. There was a fire in Hampton that was a property that we did not own, but many families of the House of Prayer resided there. And as a result of the fire, they lost all of their belongings and they were displaced. So they have nothing. Everything that they had is lost through the fire or water damage by putting it out. So that's what we were talking about. And the hope was that we as an organization, our leadership would have sent word or gotten in touch with people so that we could do something about it. So far, we have not heard anything whatsoever. Yes, if the UHOP is a question about paying outstanding contractors' bills, the House of Prayer has a history of not paying bills. And again, whenever I say House of Prayer, I'm not talking about the organization, I'm talking about the leadership, because the organization is just that. It's nothing but name on a piece of paper. But the leadership has been known to not pay bills. One second. The leadership has been known to not pay bills. And now we have a history with many different contractors, many different companies who are not paying our bills. And it's a shame because we shouldn't have that history. So the lives of him and her says, General Assembly delegates, thank you. We have work to do. When we know better, we do better. Brother Lewis is leading us step by step. Thank you, Brother Lewis. Let's keep pushing for real progress, members. Thank you, the lives of him and her. Yeah, we're doing this so that there's no rock left unturned. There's nothing that we want to have left that the people can say that they didn't know. We want to cover every single thing that we possibly can. So absolutely, thank you. B. Mevderman, the lives of him and her, amen, amen. I agree, 100%. And thank you, B. Mevderman. Ms. Kareen, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Dwayne says, clearly we can see what this is, and it's embarrassing how they took control, and we the people let it happen. Yeah, it is embarrassing. It is beyond embarrassing. But we're grateful for the opportunity now that we have that we can fix it. Because the thing is, we don't have to leave it the way it is right now. It's bad. It's extremely bad, but we don't have to leave it this way, right? So we're encouraging everybody, as well as leaning on other people, right? A little stronger, a little heavier, to understand what your responsibility is going into the General Assembly. So we'll sit back and watch how this whole thing turns out. Um, Black Diamond says, question: does the United House of Prayer have its own certified public accountant? Um, I am sure that we have one that they use. If not a firm, an entire firm. I'm sure they have one that they use, but maybe they have an entire firm of accountants. Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I cannot imagine them only having one. If anything, they probably have many accountants, and that's due to reasons that we haven't talked about yet. Okay. Um, when we talk about another subject, then we may talk about why the House of Prayer has many different accountants. And we do believe that there's many accountants that they have, but the members don't know anything about it because we just don't know what's been going on, right? Um, but that's a very good question. Wally, hello and peace to all. How you doing, Wally? Hearing this brings forth sadness and shame. Yeah, it does. Um, but the good news is we see a light at the end of the tunnel. It does bring forth sadness and shame. That's a legitimate statement. Um, and hopefully we turn this all around. The consistency of wicked behavior throughout the generations. Thank God for the work you're doing, Brother Lewis, and stay strong. Thank you. We give our Father all the glory. We would not be able to do any of the things that we're doing if it wasn't for Him giving us this information, giving us the abilities to come up with it, and giving us the wherewithal in order to present it. So we're grateful. Thank you again, Wally. Um, Wally continues to say, "We, House of Prayer, have never been exposed to know all the wickedness. We've never been exposed to know all of the wickedness. And I'm going to add, we were never supposed to know all the wickedness. This is blessing for all of us and a chance to change things for our soul's sake. Let the blindfolds be lifted." That's a powerful, powerful statement. Um, and I'm glad you're making it. And I thank you for that comment so that everybody would understand just how serious this is. Janine Duncan, this is really sad that the House of Prayer leaders is about self and not the community. Yeah, it is. Now that we're seeing it, we didn't know any of this before, right? People adore them, lift up, and adore. But now we know. And instead of adoring, instead of smiling, instead of all that stuff, it's all you can do is really just shake your head. And the fact that he's still going forward and still trying to deceive and manipulate, it really goes to show, just how much intent there is to just keep driving and to keep deceiving people. So we leave it in his hands and we let him do with it what he will. Cynthia, hello, Cynthia. And Cynthia says, Amen. I agree, Brother Lewis. Absolutely. Cynthia also says, you are not allowed to question the whereabouts of the realm of the House of Prayer megachurch among them. Why? Ask the snakes that. Ask the snakes. Not so sure I understand that. I'm trying to think of how that ends. But let us know, Cynthia, what do you mean in that last part? You're not allowed to question the whereabouts of the realm of the House of Prayer megachurch among them. Why? Yeah, you can't ask anything. There's no questions, and it's just again because they know that they don't have the answer, or they just don't want to answer, because they don't need the people to know all this time they've been doing wrong. Wiley says no community work for the outside people by the bishops. take from the members inside the organization. However, claims he's Jesus when you see him. This all has to stop. Wake up, members involved. Shake my head. Not to mention that he allows healing suits not to be given for healing, but auction them off for thousands of dollars. And he says, Lord, send your way upon the people. Right. You would think that if a healer is going to heal, then he would just heal. But instead, no, no, you're going to buy this suit and we'll let it go. We'll let it go for the highest bidder. This is all the more reason. I mean, people, you have to see that this is about money. This is all about money. And John Sayles says, as a nonprofit, United House of Prayer should give all donors / members a report of what they gave for the year. Does anyone know if members get annual donation / offering reports? I believe because of tax purposes, members can and oftentimes do receive a form letting them know you have to request it. It's not just going to be given automatically, but letting them know how much money they contributed. And you can actually claim anything that you've written by check, but it had to be something going to anything other than personal funds. So what I mean by that is if you given money as a gift, right, to the bishop or anybody else, including pastors, you cannot claim that money. That's not going towards a charitable cause. You can't claim that money. So if you give house offering, that's a charitable cause. If you give G class out of your pocket, that's a charitable cause. Tithing is considered a charitable cause. Sunday school offering is considered a charitable cause. Fast sacrifice is considered a charitable cause. But purchasing things like Sunday school books, magazines, calendars, all that stuff, when you're buying something that's not a charitable cause, you're getting something in exchange for your dollar amount. But all of those other funds, like I said, if it's an offering, that's a charitable cause. You can get that back. Same thing with any of you who are giving anything to scholarship achievement awards. That's a charitable cause. And the scholastic, the scholarship fund and the Scholastic Achievement Awards program. So you can get that back. All you have to do is request those amounts from your secretary. However, there has been some reports, individuals requesting this information, but yet the secretary not having it to give it to them. And it shows that there's a problem with some, it's called faulty bookkeeping. It shows that there's a problem with some of the bookkeeping, but you just have to ride them, right? Keep all of your check stubs, keep anything and everything. If it's not a check stub, get a money order and keep all the receipts, the money order receipts. So not just receipts, but the money order stubs as well. But that'll be your proof for everything, even if it's $5. That way, again, you can claim it. Wally says risk assessment. Oh boy, what you're talking about, Willis. Yeah, risk assessment. We have not assessed any risks, and there's risk assessments all over the place. Thief definitely doesn't want anything like that to be in the General Assembly. Yeah, they don't. There's a lot of things I'm talking about They know they don't want in here. They can't stand you all learning about this. But it's the law. There's nothing they can do about it because it's supposed to be uh, according to the things that I'm telling you all. They're supposed to have been doing this for the longest time. Um, anyway, right, Wally, it's bad. B. Mevdeman, Wally, a regular QVC live auction, United House of Prayer for All People style. Oh boy, nice one, B. Mevdeman. QVC, Wally says, our score is only one on the honest side, but we would be, as an organization, have one of the highest points that is scored on a how to steal and manipulate an organization. Yeah, we would outshine that assessment. This is very, very, very bad. But again, I wanted to show you so that you can see in black and white, according to an official assessment test. You actually all, so that you can see what I'm talking about, this is presented by um, Five Commons. Right here, presented by 501 Commons. Now, this is a huge, huge company here. And here's your website info at 501commons.org or 501commons.org. You can find the same assessment and you can print it out and take your own assessment. But then you mail them the results and they will mail you the score. But I wanted you all to see how badly we're scoring. This is absolutely terrible. And with all the information that we put out and all the things that we found out, about the organization, this is just bad. It's bad. So anyway, all the more reason why we got to fix this. We got to do all this that's necessary. All of you delegates, don't let the things that I'm saying frighten you. You should be excited. You should be thrilled. You should not be frightened. You should not be afraid. You should not be scared. You literally should be thrilled. You should be excited to know that you're part of an historical moment, period. Other people don't know what to say because of what you're up against. But I say it's nothing but a job. And this is why the government expects the people of the General Assembly to literally do that job. And it's up to you to do that job. But if you don't do that job, then I'm saying that there may end up being consequences, and you do not want those consequences. But this is primarily for the individuals, however, who are supporting Mr. Cunningham. And I'm sharing that with them because I don't want to see anything happen to you. So in the beginning, as we close out, there may be a short while when things are going to happen. But I don't want anything to happen to you. Anyway, with that said, we thank you all, each and every one. We thank you for your time. We thank you for sticking it out with us so that you can hear this information provided. And once again, come to see just how badly we as an organization have been manipulated, right? So we hope to come forward and fix this by doing what we need to do. And I can't say but so much about the General Assembly, but we're going to get you all across that finish line to where you are completely confident in what you're doing. And right now, looking at all this information, I'm sure that you're beginning to let go of a lot of that fear and that intimidation, and that's a good thing. So with that in mind, hang in there, keep watching, keep taking notes, and we're going to be telling you step by step, word for word, verbatim, what it is you need to say, how you need to say it, when you need to say it, in order to get done what we need to get done when you get to the General Assembly. Have a good night. Have a beautiful night. Have a wonderful night. We hope that you enjoy your Shabbat and your weekend for those of you that we don't see. Until next time, have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.